Hi, it's Denise with Divine Soul Astrology. Today we're going to talk about the Mars opposition to Pluto, and also we're going to discuss the Jupiter-Saturn square. So here we have the wheel, you guys. I was trying to do a live stream for you guys, right, with a kind of a Zoom setup, and they're not allowing that yet, but hey, it'll come, right? Yeah, and so let's see what we have. And this is really an interesting opposition and an interesting square because this starts out the new year. So you're looking at the wheel for the sky, right, on January 1st. And why do I have it on the 1st? Because it really sets the tone for the year. Yeah, and so with this Mars opposing Pluto, the Mars-Pluto opposition is about the intensity that is taking place in the world community. But from a personal standpoint, it's interesting that the modern ruler of Scorpio is Pluto. So here's Mars right here, and Pluto is where? Pluto is right across, right here. So here's the opposition, and whenever we have an opposition, we have two opposing energies that really need to come together and merge in order to be powerful, in order to maybe avoid certain situations, but definitely the merging will get rid of the opposing qualities, or it's a little bit of an argument, so to speak. We could call it that. Yeah, but Scorpio rules Pluto, right? Pluto is the planetary ruler, or Scorpio is Pluto is the planetary ruler for Scorpio. And so here we have Pluto, and it is in Aquarius, right? Pluto in Aquarius is really about, it's about society, right? It is. It's about humanity. And so Pluto represents the truth. It represents profound change. It represents power. It can represent things that are hidden. Yeah, things that are not privy to us, right? And so right across we have Mars, and Mars is in Leo. Mars is in a sister sign, so this is a good thing here. But Mars being in Leo, which is about, the Mars here is kind of representing the self, and what am I going to do? And I need to take action. I need to start something new. And in Leo, we can talk about self-expression and leadership. Yeah, it's interesting. And so they can both be based on the ego. So when we have an opposition here with Pluto in Aquarius, because Aquarius can be the world community, we can have kind of struggles here, ego struggles or power struggles too. Pluto can sometimes talk about, the bigger picture, but it is from a powerful standpoint of change and transformation. That's really mostly what it talks about. Pluto in its best is something very powerful, transforming, and truthful. And in its worst, it is something that is or not in its worst, but on a lower note, it is secretive and manipulative. Yes, and kind of definitely of a lower energy, and power, trying to gain power, but only through manipulation. And over here we have Mars, and that is about power in a way too, because Mars is ruled by the planet of war, and Pluto was the god of the underworld over here. All right, so we could see there's a lot of similarities between these with this opposition, and we could see power struggles in the world. We really could. And remember, Pluto in Aquarius is really, this is the Aquarian age, where this is, more for humanity, more for the people, right? We the people. Now, it's going to depend what people do with these energies and these transits, right? The community at large. This video is really kind of like, what are you going to create for yourself, right? But it's not so much for yourself. What can we all create for humanity? That's really pretty much what it's about, because Pluto is a generational planet. It's not so much of a personal planet. Mars is a personal planet. So this is how we can create for the future. Mars is assertive and aggressive, and Pluto is powerful, although intense. And Pluto can represent violence as well. Mars is ruled by Eris, the ancient Greek god of war, I feel like I mentioned that. And Pluto is the ruler of the underworld that can represent death and destruction. Pluto helps us to remove dead weight. It can come in and destroy and remove dead weight and destroy things that no longer serve humanity, right? Especially in Aquarius. So here we have, now we have Mars is retrograde over here. And this could be causing some frustration. Mars wants to do everything with passion and courage. And Mars is a little bit in a little bit of a hurry, right? It's a fire sign, it's fast energy, and it doesn't like being retrograde. It doesn't like, we can sometimes refer to as a retrograde as things slowing down. And, we can see that as a timeout for Mars. So Mars can represent who we are at the very core, how we identify with ourselves. And Leo is similar because Leo is, Mars and Leo. Leo is also based on the ego and leadership. And that's basically what Mars wants to do. All right, so we have Leo ruling the sun, and the sun also describes our ego, our achievement, and how we want to lead our lives. So right across from Mars, we have Pluto in Aquarius. As I have been discussing here, there's a need to merge those two energies I was speaking about in order for humanity to move forward in a very positive type of way and, to make things better, basically, because Aquarius is about innovation, progress, change. And so it's going to be up to us to what we want to achieve or transform. And how we choose to merge these energies will be basically for the betterment of the world, your country, and your local community. Pluto in Aquarius will represent freedom and innovation and is the humanitarian archetype. Not Pluto, but Aquarius is. All right, the other major transit that we have that is so important right now for 2025 is the Jupiter-Saturn square. And so Jupiter is in Gemini, and Saturn is in Pisces. So Jupiter is about expansion, right? And where is Saturn? And Saturn is about, here's Jupiter right here in Gemini, and Saturn is right here. So this square that we have is a 90-degree, it's a 90-degree aspect. And so, nines represent completions, right? They represent fulfillments, things, ending things and closing out chapters, whether or not they are good or, seen favorable, an ending that you may want, or you want to finish up with something, or a brand new beginning. That's really what it is when we have that type of completion. So then, and so we have Jupiter in Gemini right here. Jupiter in Gemini wants us to know the facts so we can move forward and expand our lives. Jupiter is about expansion. It is about what is meaningful in our life, what we really believe in, and it has this desire and this passion, basically, right? Jupiter is about being fair. It wants things to be fair, but it is about making things bigger and expansive in our lives to move forward. So when we have this square with Jupiter in Gemini and Saturn is right here, this is expansion, Jupiter, and Saturn is restriction. So we have a square creating tension between trying to expand and move forward and make something more dynamic, make something bigger, make something better, and move it forward. And we have Saturn here, and Saturn is telling us if you want to go ahead and expand your world, that project, you think you can just do it, and that's great. When you have so much belief in yourself, Jupiter can be about your beliefs. It's a very positive and enthusiastic belief or energy. But Saturn comes along and says, well, did you dot all your I's? Did you cross all your T's? Have you done the hard work? And are you looking at this and approaching it from a mature place? Saturn requires self-discipline in order to achieve. So in a way, these are both about achieving. But Saturn's going to come in and say, if you didn't do the hard work, or if you didn't have self-discipline and you weren't kind of, dotting those I's and crossing those T's, then this is going to be a no-go. So there's tension created here, and we will talk about the different signs and how they really could be, affecting each of the signs, right? We'll talk about the square, and we will talk about the opposition as well. All right. So, Gemini too, over here where we see Jupiter and Gemini, Gemini is about speaking up, right? If only to ourselves, but to trust it. Here we come with Jupiter. Jupiter is about trusting it, and Gemini is about speaking up, and it could be inward, right? Maybe just to yourself. So we can live with more inspiration and growth, and that is what Jupiter is describing or embodies, right? So Saturn in Pisces is confronting us with, where is Saturn again? Right here, with a reality check. Saturn says, oh yeah, okay, you want this? Then you better be realistic, and you better be mature. And in Pisces is a little bit of a fantasy. Pisces wants everything to be, it kind of wants everything to be just ideal, right? And so Saturn in Pisces is saying, well, that's fine. We can get that going for you, but you're going to have to do the hard work once again. It's a bit of a reality check. And Saturn comes into basically structure, Pisces, structure, the sign, yeah, and right? Saturn will bring clarity and kind of a hard reality, where sometimes Pisces can be a little bit foggy, right? Because Neptune can represent the ethers, and sometimes things that are not so clear, sometimes things that are very beautiful and hopeful, but they are not so clear or realistic. So here we have the balancing of that there. That is if we are ready to do the hard work. All right, so, and when we see Saturn in Pisces, Pisces is putting a little spin on that and saying, well, trust your intuition then. Trust your intuition, do the hard work, trust your intuition if you want to expand your world. All right, so there's an urging here, as I said, to work hard with self-discipline. And this transit is saying if we want to achieve, we have to do the work. And Jupiter and Saturn are kind of like two people who are running a project. And Jupiter brings all the inspiration and the belief that I can do this. And Saturn says, okay, but what are you willing to do to make it happen? So yeah, so let's move on. We're going to talk about the 12 signs now. And you guys, give me a thumbs up. If you're liking this video, please do that. And it really helps the channel out. And so I can go live when I reach 1,000 subs. Yeah, so let's talk about the signs, you guys. And we always start with Aries. And where is Aries at? Aries is right here. Here's the ram, the sign of the ram. And so, and so we see Aries there. It is always the first sign. It's not really set up like that, but that's okay because we know it is. And here it is. It's in this bright color here, this burgundy. And we're going to go through the signs this way. Aries is always the first sign. Taurus is the second sign. And so for Aries, Mars, your ruling planet, is at odds with Pluto. So the whole intro really on that transit is for you. Also, well, we can say Saturn as well because the Jupiter-Saturn square as well, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. So Mars is in your 5th house, and here's your 5th house, Aries. We start here with the ram, right? We start with that, and then we move 5 over, always counting Aries as well. And here's Mars right here, showing up as, the pink kind of the arrow here. And so, but Mars is at odds with Pluto, and that whole intro is for you. So Mars in your 5th house of love, creativity, ego, leadership. Yeah, and Pluto is in your 11th house in Aquarius. And where is Pluto? Right over here. This is going to be your 11th house. So we are, here's the opposition once more. And there's going to be a lot of change for you up until June, Aries, when Mars will leave Leo. Mars will retrograde back into Cancer in February until April, and then it will go direct again in your sign, or in Leo rather. And so you might feel a change is necessary for sure. The 11th house also rules friendships. Here is Pluto. Where is Pluto? Once again, this is your 11th house. This is the natural 11th house because you start the zodiac wheel basically. And here's the natural the natural house, the 11th house. And Pluto in Aquarius is about major change for the future. That's really what it's about. And so there's going to be a lot of change for you. And the 11th house is ruling friendships. And avoid people who are toxic. When we see Pluto in here with this opposition, Aries, yeah, avoid people who are toxic. You may want to avoid toxic relationships. And avoid people who want to push their power on you, because Pluto can represent power, and so does Mars with this, yes. And that's what basically an opposition can sometimes represent, a power struggle. All right, and so you could be choosing new friends as well, Aries. Mars is trining Neptune, whereas your Mars right here and Neptune is here. This is a trine. Where is Mars here? Yeah, and so we have this trine here. Let's see here. Yeah, for most of January. That's right. Okay. And you're going to be feeling charismatic, sexy, and creative, Aries. And you might feel an ability to motivate others without being bossy or forceful. Yeah, you might feel passionate about helping others who need it, or, or to serve a worthy cause because of that Neptune influence. Neptune always wants to care for others. It's sympathetic. It's caring, it's very compassionate, and so you might be feeling that way this month. And so the Jupiter Saturn square is all in the intro too. That's like for you, and there's going to be something challenging between your third house. So here you are, Aries, your third house is right here, Jupiter, of communication, decisions, and facts that will challenge your 12th house of higher consciousness, intuition, endings, escapism, to name a few. You might be making decisions to move yourself forward, balancing between a fogginess of what you want or what you believe to be meaningful in your life and the mojo to do the work to achieve it with this square. Yeah. Trusting your intuition will be important, Aries. Okay, let's move on to Taurus, which is the second sign. And where are you, Taurus? Where's the little bull? Right here. Okay, and Uranus is the only one in Taurus right now, which is about major change, really, in the physical world. Excuse me. It can be change about how people are earning their money, maybe with more technology. Uranus also describes technology. But let's talk about Taurus and the Mars opposition. And so Mars is opposing Pluto in your 4th and 10th houses. So this kind of access here, Taurus, with this opposition is really about kind of your family or your roots, your foundation, your emotional stability, or is opposing maybe what you do in the world, or how you want to be seen in the world. It can be a family thing where there's some type of opposition. It could be sometimes the 10th house represents where do we have Pluto here? That's your 10th house, where we see, is that the 10th? We're in Taurus. So yeah, that's right. The 10th house here for you. And so sometimes the 10th house represents the father as well. The 4th house can represent the mother. So we might have a family thing kind of going on for you early part of the year, Taurus. It could be maybe a family kind of issue. And let's see what else we have. And the 10th house also is about your achievement, your ambition. It can be your career. So maybe you are transforming something in your career here, or maybe what you do in the world. Could be maybe a reputation too. It's a possibility, your status. And so Pluto's a generational planet, so this it's possible it has little bearing on you, but this Mars opposition will have a bearing on everybody in some way. It will. Whether or not it is kind of how we are handling something in the world, since it is a generational planet. All right, so you might feel that there's a challenge or something a little tricky, Taurus, that needs care between family and your career, or if you don't work, what you do in the world, right, affecting your status. And so Venus, your ruling planet, where is Venus? the feminine Venus. Where is it? And it is right here. Venus, your ruling planet, is in your 10th house of ambition and conjunct Mars and in conjunct Mars. Yeah, so this is kind of, when we see this in conjunction with Mars, which really is in your, where are you? The Mars is actually in your 4th house. Yeah, that's right. So when we see this in conjunction with Venus, though, you know, in conjunctions are, sometimes you're not aware of something, but there's something that kind of could be bothering you and you can't put your finger on it. It can also imply procrastination. It can also imply something that kind of makes you feel a little scared, or like you're kind of like, what? Like you don't feel so well about it. Interesting, but there's no need to be scared. No, there's not. We're not here to do that. That is the archetype of that energy, right? And so maybe something needs to be taken care of that has to do, you know, maybe with your family, right? Or your work. It definitely could be, because Venus can represent both love over here, and it can also represent the good things in life, abundance. Yeah, so it can represent your money and love, both, your creative, the creative aspect as well. So yeah, and you might have, and you could, and Venus is sextiling your 8th house of intimate relationships. So where's Venus at? And Venus is in your 10th and 9th, 8th. So this is, yeah, it is sextiling. I'm not showing the sextile here. I don't have the aspect showing, because it kind of like muddies, not muddies it, but it makes it too busy for you guys to kind of see the planets. But there is a sextile there. With Venus is about love, and it is offering you some type of an opportunity in love, or to meet somebody, or perhaps improve a relationship. And there's something you may need to release in the areas of work, health, or daily obligations, or even something surrounding a pet. And so the Jupiter-Saturn square, Jupiter's in your 2nd house. Where are you, Taurus? Here's Jupiter in your 2nd house of money and values, and it's been there since May of 2024. So this is the house that you really rule. We have Gemini kind of coloring it, or kind of representing it in a way here. But yeah, Gemini is ruling your 2nd house here. And we can say that Jupiter is definitely ruling your 2nd house as well, right? But, you know, here we have Jupiter in your 2nd house of money. This is about expanding your finances. Definitely, or you know, maybe you are doing something very exciting, you have the opportunity to do that in your, you know, with regard to your career, your money, things like that. Yeah, and so it can be about your well-being as well, your values, and so let's move this here, and so yeah, and so let's continue, and so. Yeah, and so where were we on this? Somebody kind of, a little bit of an interruption there. Yeah, and this been there since Jupiter's in your house of values, Taurus, but it's been there since May of last year. And Saturn is in your 11th house of gains and social groups. So that square is showing you that for the future, you might have to do some really hard work for the future. You could, and it could also be asking you to really believe in something that might take a lot of, that could take a lot of work on your part, or a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. It can talk about that. But you're most likely feeling the square between Jupiter. Yeah, you're most likely feeling the square, and that's what I mean by that, right? Yeah, and so let's move on to Gemini. And all right, Gemini, Jupiter is in your 1st house of self. So Jupiter is not really dignified in Gemini, so it kind of doesn't really like it that much, Jupiter being there. But this is about the facts. It is, and so it can sometimes be about your self-esteem. But let's see here, and this has been really good for you, though. It has been, even though Jupiter, yeah, looking from it from your point of view for the first, this can be talking, this can. From your point of view, the 1st house, this can be that you are really expanding your world, or you are definitely like feeling like you want to do that, right? With Jupiter in the 1st house of self. Yeah, and so this is about, the tension here is between Jupiter and Saturn regards the 1st and the 10th houses. So let's look at that here. And with Gemini, we are talking about the square first, right? Possibly, I probably did that here because Jupiter is in your sign. So where is Saturn? It's in your 10th house, 10th, 11th. This is correct. So here's the square. Your 10th house is about, all 10th houses are about, everybody's 10th house is going to be about achievement. Yeah. And so it's for you, Gemini, this Jupiter Saturn square is definitely about your achieving and getting, and how you're going to do it based on your own will. Yeah, Gemini can represent will too, based on your own will and your hard work. If you are willing definitely to do that, you could have a lot of good ideas right here with Jupiter in Gemini. It can talk about ideas, and so you know that you're going to have to really kind of buckle down, possibly, right, when we see Saturn in the 10th house. So let's see what else we have. And so Mercury, your ruling planet, is in your 7th house of relationship and legal matters. Here's Mercury. He kind of looks like the little student, right? He does kind of like, looks like a little hat on here, and right, sort of. But Mercury is in your 7th house of relationships and legal matters. So Mercury is trining Chiron, letting you heal something. Where is Chiron? Chiron's right here. It's letting you definitely heal something, and so we see it. We know we have a nice trine for you, Gemini, because Mercury is in a fire sign, Sagittarius, and Chiron is in Aries, another fire sign, and that is the ease, and it can be about what is related to your innate qualities, like what comes easy to you. And so there's some type of healing possibly for you. And so what house is Chiron in? Chiron is in, where is Chiron? Right here. It is here for you, Gemini. It's in your 11th house. So, with this trine for you, Gemini, this is really kind of helping you move forward and kind of get rid of any insecurities. It really could be. And this could be like maybe something you wanted to heal is really healing, and you're moving forward, because the 11th house also talks about, this is the 11th house, if in case I said the 10th, but the 11th house for you is definitely about, for everybody, is about the future. So there's something that you're healing, I believe, through, could be definitely through self-reflection, because we have Mercury over here, and Mercury is the mind, right? Yeah, it is. All right, so let's see what else we have. And you could be healing something in relationships, or how you show up in relationships. You could be relating, or you're coming out stronger and you are showing up in relationships, maybe with more confidence, but whatever it is helping you. It is helping you in how you relate to others. Okay, it could be related to your freedom, Gemini, or having the need for some personal freedom while in a relationship. That's a possibility. So the Mars-Pluto opposition for you, Gemini, can have you feeling like you need to avoid dramatic relationships. Yeah, so let's look at that. And where is Mars for you? Mars is here, and this is in your 3rd house. And so now where is Mars? All right, so, and this is Leo. So when we see Mars, it could possibly be about relationships sometimes, because Leo is about love here. And so we have the opposition for you, Gemini. This is the 3rd and the 9th house. That's right. So here's your 9th house. Yeah, here is your 9th house of spirituality, philosophy, higher realms, higher education. And here is Aquarius. And so there's something you want to change here in order to innovate, but you want to feel, you want more freedom here. And this has to do with your ideas. It can be about how you are communicating with somebody, or how you communicate in the world, possibly. There could be things you might be feeling a little bit kind of agitated. You could this month, or for a little while here. There could be arguments with Mars in Leo, because that is your third house of communication. So there could be arguments right here as it is opposing Pluto over here, which can be power. There could be a power struggle here with others, or there definitely could be. All right, so there could be things that are hidden, and your power, Gemini, lies in your ability to deal with change and adapt, because here is the ninth house, and Aquarius is about adapting for the future. It is, yeah, and so, and also, and to see where that is important in your life. It's probably emotional, as the moon and Pluto are conjunct. They are together. Here they are. At least that they were on the first, but it doesn't really matter so much, because this is setting the tone. It really is. And the moon right now is in Pisces, the next sign, but this is definitely setting the tone. It is when it is next to with these other transits, especially next to Pluto, and when it moves into Pisces, it will be a little more emotional. It will, for you anyway. And so we see, and it has already moved in. But these transits I'm talking about are for the next few months. Yeah, they are. And so your power, is going to lie in your ability to lies in your ability for change and adaptation. It's probably emotional, as I said. The moon represents the mind, and so does your third house. So that is where the opposition is, between the moon and your third house of the mind. So that's very interesting. And this can be between your mind and your emotions as well. And so this could also represent your creative, this may be about your creative mind as well, as Venus is also in your ninth house. Here's Venus over here in your ninth house. And learning something new that is passionate or meaningful could be what some of you Gemini, what some of you twins want. That could definitely be. And so for Cancer, let's move on to Cancer. And Mars is retrograde in Leo. Where is Mars here? So here is Mars one more time. It is retrograde. And and this is going to be in your second house. Here you are, Cancer. So, Mars doesn't really like, Mars is better in Leo. It is. Yeah. And so, yeah. And this is in your second house of money and values, Cancer. And Mars here is giving you the drive and inspiration to create what you want. For example, how to earn more money, or how to change possibly the way you earn money, but is giving you the drive. It is, and what you value in the new year. So this retrograde in Leo will return to your sign, Cancer, on the 6th, which is in a couple of days. It will go direct on February 23rd, and it will remain there until April 18th. So that's going to be kind of interesting for you, how the opposition kind of plays out. And so, yeah, and so it's opposing Pluto in another money house. Here's Pluto in another, in your money house over here, right here, and this is going to be your 8th house. Yeah, so your 8th house is interesting, and Pluto loves the 8th house, and it is sitting there. So yeah, this could be about money issues with other people. It could be, and there may be something you have to do in order to kind of take control, possibly, of your money, or shared monies that could be going on with that opposition. There may be arguments about money, possibly, and others may be hiding things from you about money. That's a possibility with that opposition. The Mars-Pluto opposition, Cancer, can create power struggles in relationships. Your planet, the moon, is conjunct with Pluto. It was on the 1st. Things can go your way a little easier if you trust your intuition. That's really always how it is. So that's when I, was creating the video. It is still very relevant. It is, and you may have opportunity, especially for you, Cancer, because you rule intuition. So this is how you guys rule, how you guys roll, basically, in the world. Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio, and many other signs. All of us, really, but you are representing your emotions and your intuition as an archetype. And okay, so you might have opportunities to build your finances, Cancer, if you're able to manage yourself or someone else's desires desire or passions and anger. That could happen. The Jupiter-Saturn square can bring you a blessing in disguise. And where is the Jupiter-Saturn square? Here is Jupiter, and Saturn's right here. Here we have the 90-degree. And yeah, that could be a blessing in disguise for you. Something you see as confusing or unknown or even sad. Jupiter is assisting. Saturn is in your 9th house. Saturn in your 9th house is telling me there's something that you've learned, and that you may see it shining the light on something you thought was challenging or even ending, or something that may be ending that actually you may see as a blessing in disguise. All right. And let's see what we have for Leo. And Leo, the Mars-Pluto opposition is taking place in your 1st house, and it is opposing your 7th house of relationships. So Leo, where are you? Right here. This is your 1st house where your sign is. And so right across, Pluto is in your 7th house of relationships. Yeah, and this, it can be about open enemies. It can be about relating to others and legal affairs. Yeah. And so you may feel there's a struggle or challenge between you, between who you are, right? Your own person, how you identify with yourself, and the relationship you're in, or the types of relationships you've chosen. And you may be seeing the truth about someone or yourself, Leo, and that things need to change on a profound level for you to remain true to who you are, or feel that you're standing in your power. The Jupiter-Saturn square is in your 11th house of the future. And so this is the house of social groups, friendships, liberation, and change. All right, Leo. So here is Saturn, and here is Jupiter right here. This is your 11th house. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. So here's Jupiter in your 11th house of gains, the future, innovation, right? Humanitarianism, friendships. It can be social groups, right? And doing things much better. That is what, Aquarius wants to do. It wants to innovate. And so Aquarius is, in the 11th house is representing. So the 11th house is ruled here by Gemini. These are both very smart signs regarding, that Jupiter placement here that is squaring Saturn. So yeah, and so let's see what else we have. And as I said, the 11th house where Jupiter resides, this is in your house of social groups, Leo, friendships, liberation, and change. Liberation is important, especially for Jupiter that is there in your 11th house. Jupiter is also extending its benevolence to you. Jupiter is a benefic, yeah, and you may have ideas about personal expansion and your future, but Saturn in your 8th may be putting restrictions on you with regard to your money, perhaps a relationship or shared money with partners, or just simply how you feel about it, right? You have the opportunity to move into the future if you surrender to Saturn, Leo, which is emphasizing that hard work, discipline is necessary. You may have to change something profoundly or let something go for the future. And you may have to kind of look at something that, with Jupiter, here, you might have to look at something like, well, is it really worth it? Because Saturn asks you if it is really worth it. Is it worth the hard work? Is it worth really pursuing, right? Putting your blood, sweat, and tears, or your heart and soul into it. So for Virgo, the Mars-Pluto opposition happens in your 12th and your 6th houses. Mars is in your house of closure and loss, opposing your 6th house of daily life, work, and health. So Virgo, where are you here? Your 12th and your 6th houses. And so where are you? And here's Virgo, yeah. And Mars is right here in your 12th house, the house right before your own, your 1st house here, Virgo. And so here is Mars. Mars doesn't really like to be in the 12th house. Not really, because the 12th house is about endings and closure, and Mars is about new beginnings. So we start here with kind of a challenge, right? And so it isn't Leo. It can be about love, this opposition. It can be about parenting. right? Creative endeavors, or maybe how you are leading your life, Leo. Um, and so let's see what else we have, though. Sometimes Leo is about recreational activities. It does rule that. And it can be about ego. Mars in Leo can have a lot to do with ego. And maybe you have to kind of sacrifice something, because it's in the 12th house, Virgo, and the 12th house does represent sacrifice. You might be sacrificing something in order to kind of have your sixth house maybe more peaceful. This could be your daily life. So where is your sixth house where we see Pluto? Right here. Your sixth house is in Jupiter. The sixth house is your house of daily obligations, your lifestyle, how your life is running or operating on a daily basis. It can be about your work or your health. But I feel like you are seeking some type of liberation here, and you feel like you have to sacrifice something. That's kind of how this is looking for you when I look at that. Yeah. And maybe you are trying to transform and actually live a truth, Virgo, because here's Pluto in your sixth house. And yeah, and the sixth house is a very practical house. Pluto does talk about the truth. You could be really facing a truth, right? You may be redefining your lifestyle, Virgo. You could. And the Jupiter-Saturn square is, where is the Jupiter-Saturn square? Again, here's Jupiter, here is Saturn, here's the square here. And Jupiter is actually in your, let's look at that. This is in your 10th and your 7th houses. So Jupiter shows up in the 10th house. And where are you, Virgo? Once again, you are here. And so, this can be kind of the square between your career and your relationship, or family life, possibly. It can be about being a father, but you may be blessed to achieve and reach a career high or improve your status, Virgo. You may be opting for something you really believe in. Saturn is in your house of relating, relationships, and legal matters. But you see, you have to bite the bullet in some way. Maybe you have to bite the bullet in a legal affair. It's a possibility. The 7th house represents that, in order to expand your world, possibly to have something that is super inspirational, because here is Jupiter, and Jupiter is always about something inspirational. You could have a really inspirational idea. It's possible, right? And also we have Mercury, really, because this is Gemini, is ruling that house. Yeah. And Mercury is your ruler as well. So that's a good thing, right? It is ruling your 10th house of career. And so Jupiter squaring Saturn could be putting pressure on you to let go of a relationship that may have taught you some karmic lessons, or some hard lessons, I should say. Maybe it taught you a lesson that something wasn't quite realistic. Mercury, your ruling planet, is in your 4th house of family, foundation, and emotional support. This could be telling you balance between emotions and the logical is really important. And there may be a reality check with Saturn in Pisces. All right, let's look at Libra now. And if you guys are enjoying this video, please give it a like. I really appreciate you guys. And so we have the Mars-Pluto opposition is between your 11th house of the future, Libra, and your 5th house of ego, leadership, love, family, and creative endeavors. So where are you, Libra? We're talking about your 5th and your 11th. And so the 5th house for you, here's Libra. Yeah, here's the 5th house, and this is the Pluto. Remember that it's interesting with oppositions. It's almost like the faster planet kind of starts the opposition, or that's kind of how it works. So we have basically it is an axis where there could be it can just be kind of an equal opposition, right? Equal energies kind of opposing each other. But Mars is in your 11th house here, and this is your 11th house of the future. Are we doing this correctly? Yeah, we are. Mars is in your 11th house of the future, and your 5th house, and over here Pluto is in your 5th house of ego, leadership, love, family, and creative endeavors. So your desire and drive to create your new future or innovate and improve it seems high. There could be power struggles with partners or family regarding money. maybe surrounding maybe a dad. Sometimes the fifth house can talk about the dad as well. When we have Leo there, leaders, fathers. And you may want to change, you may want change, and you're seeing also that something needs to end or change profoundly on another level. You have the power within yourself, Libra, to manage this, and someone may be stubborn or a stubborn or obstinate situation exists. Maybe hard to change it, possibly, right? It's just trying to hang on there. With both Mars and Leo and Pluto in Aquarius. And both Leo and Aquarius are fixed signs, so there could be something kind of where somebody doesn't like change or something like that. They want to keep it the same, right? It's very interesting. Your ruling planet, Venus, is also in your fifth house. And Venus likes the fifth house, right? There may be some detachment or freedom or innovation that is needed. And the Jupiter-Saturn square, Leo, happens for you in your ninth and your sixth houses. Jupiter feels good in the ninth as both are ruled by Sagittarius, right? And so the depositor here is Gemini, and Gemini is ruling. This is basically Gemini ruling, or Mercury, we can say, ruling this house for you, right? And your ninth house. Jupiter feels good in the ninth as both are ruled by Sagittarius. And Gemini is here adding his flavor to this house, but there's some tension between your daily obligation, with this Saturn, with the Jupiter-Saturn square, because your sixth house is here, and this is about your daily life. So there's some tension, Libra, between, most likely, between your daily obligations, and what you find meaningful and inspiring, or how you maybe want to expand your life, right? Saturn in the sixth house always says that daily discipline is required, no ifs, ands, or buts. And Jupiter in the ninth is always saying, I can do this. It's meaningful. It's inspiring. I'm excited. Let's get to it. And Saturn says, slow down and think about the process. There's hard work involved. There could be someone else who's moving slow and it's getting on your nerves, Libra. So let's see what else we have. And we're going to talk about Scorpio now. And Scorpio, the Mars-Pluto opposition is really important for you because Pluto is your ruling planet and Mars is your ancient ruling planet. Mars is in your 10th house of ambition and achievement. Where is Mars? Right here. This is in your 10th house, Scorpio. And so Mars in the 10th house can talk about ego. It can talk about, kind of having the drive to create for you with your ambition. It can talk about somebody, an egotistical father or a leader or kind of father figure. It definitely can with this Pluto opposition. Where are we now? And so Mars is in your 10th house of ambition and achievement. Pluto's in your 4th house of family, foundation, your address, and your emotional support system. Career and ambition may be on your mind, and family or something possibly relating to your security may be opposing it, your emotional security, right? Or just feeling kind of, content or not feeling nervous, things like that. And the moon is conjunct your natal Pluto at the time that I did this, but that is not changing much. No, it's not. This is not a video on the moon anyway. But that is very powerful with the moon and Pluto. And it's really kind of setting the tone for the next few months. It really is, although the moon has moved into the next sign, right? And the moon has moved into Pisces today here on the West Coast. I'm doing this a couple days later. I'm actually recording it after I have, prepared the video. But all these transits, the one I'm talking about, the Jupiter-Saturn square and the Mars-Pluto opposition, are very relevant regardless of 2 days. Yeah. So, the moon too is conjunct. This axis between the 4th and the 10th houses is generally about the balance between achievement and your emotions. Yeah. Or your outer world, how you show up in the world, maybe how you earn your money, but it's about your outer world versus your inner world, your emotions, how you feel, right? It can be about how you feel regarding your ambition. But there's always a little tug there going on with the 4th and the 10th houses. These are, Yeah, definitely. And these are also angular houses, so they're very important. It can be about your social life versus your home life, Scorpio. You may be approaching these matters very differently in the new year and compromising. You're letting something go, Scorpio, with a trine with the South Node, which regards the past, and Pluto. Yeah, there's something you're definitely letting go. You could really be learning about from the past. You might have learned from a past life reading. You could, because they can both talk about that, the South Node and Pluto. And the South Node is in your house of endings, right? Which can talk about past lives as well, supporting that trine. Wow. Yeah. Very interesting here. Where is that South Node? Here. This is in, no, the South Node is down here. And yeah, this is in your 12th house. Did I say? Yeah, I think I said that. The 12th house, the South Node of endings. The 12th house is about endings. The South Node is about endings. Yeah, very interesting there. And it could be, this is ruled by Libra. Could be about relationships. You could have learned something and you are ending something, a relationship, or ending the way maybe you approach relationships. That definitely could be. And so, yeah, and so the Jupiter-Saturn square, Scorpio, is happening in your 8th and your 5th house. So where is the Jupiter-Saturn square for you? And the 8th and the 5th, here's Jupiter once again, and here is Saturn in your 5th. And so, yeah, we see that there in the 5th, 8th, and 5th houses. These are both love houses. They really are. And so I always explain it from the point that Jupiter is in your 8th, because it is the one squaring your 5th house. Yeah, the faster planet squares the slower planet. That's usually how it works. And so these are both two love houses, and you may be feeling intimate relationships are very important, like any Scorpio would, ruling the 8th house of intimate relationships. And Pisces is the ruler of your 5th. So where's Pisces at? Where is Pisces? Right here. Pisces is the ruler of your 5th house, Scorpio. We see you here, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Pisces is the ruler there. That's kind of interesting because, yeah, Pisces. This is a little bit of a difficult placement here, but yeah, this could be making you sensitive, Scorpio. It really could. Pisces, with Pisces, the ruler of the 5th house. And you might be feeling tension around a father figure. Saturn in Pisces is telling you to be realistic in love. Could be about money, maybe. But if you want to see your personal love life strive, you're seeking this, and your Plutonic power will step up and take control. Yes, it will. So for Sagittarius, the Mars-Pluto opposition is it's in your 9th and 3rd houses. Okay, so you rule the 9th house as a rule, or in the natal chart, right? That is your house. The 3rd house is your opposite sign, Gemini. So let's look at that. Let's look at the Mars-Pluto thing here for you. Not thing, but opposition. And here we have, this is Mars 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, here's in your 9th house, Mars. So Mars likes the 9th house. It can be a bit impulsive because they're both fire signs, and we know that fire signs can be a little impulsive. Be careful for ego trips kind of here with Mars ruling the ego, right? And especially in Leo, wow, in your 9th house. And so, yeah. And so you might have the drive to do something, Sagittarius, right? And Pluto is showing up in your, where is Pluto? In your 3rd? And this is 1, 2, yeah, it's in your 3rd. And so this is in Aquarius. And so your 3rd house is usually, the natal, the natural is Gemini. So this is about your intelligence, something about your intelligence, yeah, and what you want to do, basically, kind of what you really want to do, what you really believe in here. There's an opposition about what you really believe in, and kind of your ideas over here. The 3rd house for you is about your ideas, your communication. This can be about your willpower. You may know that you really need a lot of willpower to push something forward, and that's fine, because I feel like you can do that here with Mars and Leo, sister signs, right? Opposing over here. This is about your power in the 3rd house, Pluto in your power, Sagittarius. So Yeah, in your third house, definitely. It's also about transforming maybe the way you communicate. You could be changing the way you come across, maybe in a blog, or the way you kind of, maybe it's possible. And there could be a struggle there too with siblings, as this Mars-Pluto opposition is about two very powerful planets. And your third house can be about siblings. Yeah, it can. Your ideas are powerful, Sagittarius. And as I said, you might want to change your style of communication to improve something, or the way you deliver something, spoken or written, videos or blogs, maybe simply the way you talk to other people, possibly. You may feel a need to balance your power, your heart's freedom, to add meaning to what you do. Yeah, there's something you believe in that that may need tending to. You might want to travel or move. Yeah, you might want to move, Sagittarius. As Mars will retrograde back into Cancer, you might be really thinking about a new home. If you're single, you could feel having a partner is especially important now, as related to your home or your foundation and security. And the Jupiter-Saturn square is all about you, Sagittarius. As Jupiter is your ruling planet, there's tension, or you feel challenged between home, family, career, and relationships, or you're relating to others. So Saturn is in your fourth house of family, roots, foundation, emotions, emotional support. You might feel like there's a heaviness to your home and family right now with this opposition. There may be issues relating to family members or partners, perhaps, that is slowing your progress, or you feel that way. This is going to lift, Sagittarius, when Jupiter moves forward on the 22nd of January. Woohoo, right? And so for Capricorn, let's look at Capricorns, right? And so Capricorn, the Mars-Pluto opposition shows up in your 8th house of relationship, shared monies, sex, and power, and things that are hidden. That's a lot. So both these houses are about your money. Where are you, Capricorn? You're here, and so we see the 8th house down here. Mars is in your 8th. Where is Mars? Mars is right here, and where are you, Capricorn? Right here. Mars is in your 6th house. I beg your pardon, not in your 6th house. Here we have Saturn, your own ruling planet, is in your 3rd house. And so we have, is that correct? Yeah, let's take a look at this. Yeah, this is correct. Saturn is in your 3rd house, and that is your ruling planet. And so when we talk about this opposition, Saturn is in Pisces. This starts with a reality check, as it is, Capricorn. It just does, because Saturn in Pisces is about a reality check. In your 3rd house, it could be about siblings, but it may be about, like your communication, your ideas. There could be, right? You might be really putting in the hard work, and but if with this placement here, this is kind of, you're supposed to avoid daydreaming, and you guys aren't really too much into that. But in order to possibly in order to maybe push something forward with your willpower, your ideas, things like that. So over here, Mars is here. And I'm talking about two different things right here, but here's the Mars opposition. Let's get back to the opposition. I was going to start to talk about the square here because of your sign, but here, because of Saturn rules you, right? It is still in your 3rd house. It is, but this opposition here for you, Capricorn, the 8th house of relationships. Where are you? Right here. Mars is there. This can talk about like arguments. It really can. It can talk about people that are hiding things in relationships. And these are both about your money. So there could be a challenge, or you see two qualities or two things perhaps that need to be merged, opposing things, right? Your ego weighs in, your self-identity, and your desire and drive. Venus is in your 2nd house as well. Where's Venus at? Right here. And this is, so this opposing of energies, it may be inward or socially. It can be about love. And so here is Venus, showing up in your 2nd house, which is, where this opposition takes place too. So here's Mars, in your 8th, and then, the Pluto's in your second. So, this could be really about love. It can be about how you earn your money, and money's between people, things like that, because both of these houses are represented here. And so, yeah, and this could be, this opposition, it can be about, it may be inward or socially, this opposing or this opposition. And this can be about your driving your power without anger or control, or the need to control something, Capricorn. Avoid partners who are dramatic or power or ego driven. And the Jupiter-Saturn square is relevant for you because Saturn is your ruling planet right here, Capricorn. And so Jupiter, where's Jupiter? It's down here. Where is Jupiter? Right here in your 6th house of obligations. Yeah, of daily life. So, this is definitely about, this square here is definitely about, it could be about your home life. It's possible. It is about your daily life. It can be about how you earn your money. It can be how you value things in your daily life. Like really what's important to you at the end of the day, and possibly managing your lifestyle. It can be about your work and your health, and there's something kind of that you need to manage here, or Saturn, and Saturn is making demands in your 3rd house of willpower, self-esteem. Yeah, right here. Saturn is over here. We're talking about the Jupiter-Saturn square now, not any longer the opposition, right? So Saturn in your 3rd house could be making demands of your willpower, your self-esteem, your communication, relationship with siblings, maybe learning. Maybe you feel like you really need to learn something. You might want to travel as well. Yeah, you could. And so let's have a look. And so here we see Saturn in the 3rd and the 6th house here. You might feel like you have some type of obligations that is kind of holding you back from taking a trip that you want to take as well. And you may feel like something is very meaningful, kind of meaningful for you, but that you kind of have to avoid it, or something that because of, you might be feeling I need to be more realistic. That could be the case here as well. And there could be some tension, or something irritates you when it comes to work or health. It could have to do with a decision, Capricorn. Getting serious about work could also be a theme, although Capricorn rules the 10th house of ambition. So this could be about something very specific that you want to get really serious about, because in general, you guys are serious. The 10th house is, you rule that house, and it rules maturity. Yeah, it does. Or restrictions, is kind of like whatever we choose, right? Yeah, that's how it is with Saturn. It's the ultimate reality check, right? Yeah. And Saturn is the stern teacher, right? And so getting serious about work is possible. It could be a theme, but I feel like it has to do with something very specific in your life. Capricorn rules the archetype of responsibility. Sure does. You might have to figure something out regarding these matters I was talking about. Yeah, you could have maybe something really kind of pushing you to decide or to handle something. And so for Aquarius, the Mars-Pluto opposition is in your 7th house of relating, partnerships, and legal affairs. Also open enemies. Yeah, there may be some differences between you and friends. This can be powerful for you. And let's look at Aquarius here. And where are you, Aquarius? You're right here. Yeah, this is happening in your 1st and your 7th. Yeah. Yeah, so this is about you and your relationships. It definitely is, this opposition, or how you are relating to people as well. And there could be some differences, maybe, or maybe not misunderstandings, but where is Mars here? Maybe not misunderstandings, but there could be some differences between you and friends, possibly. Because Pluto is in your 1st house. Right? But this is powerful for you, Aquarius, because as I said, Pluto sits here in your 1st house. But Pluto is bringing you some type of truth there. That's really what's going on there. And the truth is bringing you some sort of truth in order to help you transform or move into the future more powerfully. Yeah. And you might feel something needs changing with how you relate to others. to stand in your power without jeopardizing friendships or relationships that may be relevant. Any secrets or things you're keeping very private can challenge partners. This has to do with any relationships or legal affairs and your future. Uranus, your ruling planet, is retrograde in your 4th house of foundation. So here's your 4th house, and it is ruled by Taurus or Venus. And so when we see the 4th house there, it's kind of interesting. Venus ruling the 4th house can be something. It can be something kind of. We're not talking about the square anymore. We're just talking about your planet. But like Venus in your 4th house, or ruling your 4th house, right? It can talk kind of, it can be something emotional kind of, right? It's very loving and nurturing, but Uranus is here. And so this can be kind of change maybe regarding a relationship, could be, but or in love, it could be. Maybe you want to do things with more freedom in a relationship. This can also be how you are earning your money. You could be moving into the future, earning your money in a different way. Your values could change, Aquarius, right? When we see Uranus in your 4th house, definitely could be. And Taurus is ruling it, or Venus, and this is about your values as well. Yeah. And Uranus is, it's retrograde though. So maybe you are kind of like thinking about the change in the future, your values are changing, things like that, while Uranus is retrograde. And it is in Taurus, representing financial security and resources. So once again, your foundation or security in some aspect may be relevant moving forward, right? And the Jupiter-Saturn square, any tension you're feeling right now, Aquarius, or possibly something is nudging you. It might, it could be a major nudge, possibly. Venus is in your 1st house, squaring Uranus. You might feel again that your relationships are possibly on the burner for you to keep either cooking them or kind of taking them off, right? Should I keep this going? You might feel a need for excitement or change. Yes, you guys kind of crave that, right? Yeah, and that's why you guys can deal with change, because you crave excitement and growth and innovation and things like that. So Jupiter's in Gemini in your 5th house of love, creativity, self-expression. Here's Jupiter in your 5th house. Jupiter likes the 5th house for sure. Of love, creativity, self-expression, leadership, and recreational activities. And so you might want to express yourself or show yourself to the world perhaps in a new way. Yeah, your parenting style may be a factor, Aquarius. You might want to learn something, or you're learning about yourself, right? Which is the most powerful and important subject, isn't it? Yeah, Saturn in Pisces, not really history and this other. I mean, that is important so we can know what has gone on in the past, but I'm saying there's many things that are not important that they teach in school, for sure. Right? Yeah. Saturn in Pisces is about reality. And so avoid too much daydreaming or procrastinating, because here is Saturn in Pisces in your 2nd house. And the 2nd house is kind of, it's a very practical house, right? About your physical needs, about your money, how you earn your money, your values. And there is a need to be a little serious here. Yes, when we see that. So when we see Saturn in Pisces, and to avoid, because we had the Saturn, this Jupiter-Saturn square that I've been talking about for a long time, right? And so Saturn's in your money house, your house of self-esteem and values. There can be some tension in how you earn your money and your self-expression or your authenticity, possibly. This can depend. I would have to see your chart. So yes, thank you. And let's move on to Pisces, Aquarius. Yeah, and by the time this video is out, which is today, and so which is a couple days after the 1st, the moon has moved into Pisces here in the United States. It was yesterday, and it was actually yesterday. This video will go up tomorrow, and so it's going up. It's going up 3 to 4 days later. Yeah, it is. But that's okay, you guys, because this is not a video on the moon. No, it's not. This is a video on transits, long-lasting transits, basically. And so, but yeah, for Pisces, I brought up the moon because you know, when it's being recorded, the moon is in your sign, which is a little emotional. But and this could be the 3rd, January 3rd, here in the West, and maybe on the 2nd, outside of the United States. Really, could be on the 2nd. It could be an emotional day for you, possibly a very intuitive one with great insight, right? And the moon on the 3rd, the moon is next to Saturn as well, and the moon doesn't like close proximity to Saturn. No, it doesn't. So that's why it could be an emotional day, right? Saturn is always saying stop daydreaming, and the moon is basically emotional and feminine, and Saturn brings its masculine energy in and kind of agitates the moon a little bit. And so, and they are very different, right? The moon represents the mother, right, and the feminine side, and Saturn represents the masculine side. So they are in in opposition to start. But the Mars-Pluto opposition, Pisces, is in your 6th house of daily obligations. Let's have a look at that. Here you are right here, and we will move this down. So yeah, here's Mars in your 6th house. So Mars in your 6th house can, with opposing Pluto in your 12th house of Mars in your 6th house of daily obligations, work, and health. It's about responsibilities, really, while Pluto is in your 12th house of intuition, closure, things we fantasize about. So there may be a major push-pull for you to change in order to create the future you want. Yeah, there could be. You feel like you need to let something go, something personal, something having to do with your lifestyle or your work or your health. It could be something you're keeping way down deep and maybe not sharing with anybody, very inwardly. And don't let your ego or your feelings hinder you, Pisces. Don't let, don't let the sensitive side, don't try not to be oversensitive here, because there's a great opportunity to move forward in a very powerful way, as the 12th house of endings is being ruled by Aquarius, which is related to your future. Yeah, here's Pluto in your 12th house. So, and Aquarius is running the show right here, basically. So this is all about your future. And it's kind of like if you play your cards right here, if you understand that something needs to be changed, you could really move forward powerfully. You could. The Jupiter-Saturn square happens for you in your 4th house, family and roots, foundation, and emotional security. Saturn is in your 1st house of self. So let's have a look at that. And here is Jupiter in your 4th house. Here we see it's actually in your 5th house. Jupiter is Pisces. I beg your pardon. It's in your 4th house. I said that was correct. And emotional security. Saturn is in your 1st house of self. So we have a problem here a little bit. Like there's some tension here between what makes you feel kind of safe and maybe how you are asserting yourself, or you're feeling emotional, but something is kind of maybe aggravating or irritating your ego. It's possible, like, kind of putting it, bothering your, how you want to drive yourself possibly over here, or maybe how you even want to, maybe how you want to drive yourself. Let's look at that again. The Jupiter, Saturn is in your 1st house of self. Where is Saturn at? It is right here in Pisces. And you could be, let's get back to the Jupiter-Saturn square, right? You could be pushed to assume responsibility in some area of your life in order to free yourself, move forward, and feel more inspired. Yeah, because here is, your 1st house with Saturn, and the square is in your... It's in your 4th house, right? So, when we see this is between you're feeling safe about kind of who you are. And I feel like you are seeking some freedom with Jupiter in your 4th house. You're seeking some type of liberation. And with this square, it's putting tension on you to take some type of action. I feel like it is. And maybe be more realistic with this Saturn in Pisces, right? It could be in your sign. Saturn in your sign is a little bit of a, it's a little bit of a kind of somebody who hasn't been invited to your house, and they come over and they kind of tell you what you need to do to make your house look better. Yeah, maybe be more presentable. It's kind of, yeah, yeah, it is kind of like that. But it can really help you. Saturn can really teach us some lessons that are so valuable for us in order to achieve, move forward, and really feel better. Yeah. And so there could be a lot of, maybe there's a lot of daydreaming going on, and this can be about self-discipline, and you may have to decide what you really believe in, like what's really important for you, because that's what Jupiter represents. What kind of makes you feel safe here? It looks like to me that there's definitely a sacrifice, or, I got to give something up here. It does. There could be a feeling of this could be uncomfortable, and Jupiter is inspiring you, but implying you should let go of something that is hindering your own sense of security. Yeah, that's really interesting, right? You could be feeling like you're holding on to something that is actually kind of lifting you or supporting you, but really it may be hindering you. Yeah, and that's, Saturn is in Pisces when this can be something that you don't see here, because Pisces rules nebulousness and fogginess, and sometimes a little bit of lack of clarity because of the fantasy element, yeah, and the daydreaming element that Pisces, that Pisces describes or embodies. Yeah, I mean, it also describes, fantasy writers, cinematographers, which create things that are maybe a fantasy, or kind of daydreaming, things like that, like art, right? But with this placement here in the square, yeah, it could be kind of telling you to. It can be saying that maybe daydream is kind of holding you back or something. And so this may have something to do with your father or your mother, though. It could. Don't get discouraged, though, Pisces, because Venus will be moving through your sign, and Venus is really comfortable there, helping you to achieve the good things in life. It can. Encouraging more self-care and possibly bringing you love if you are single. Yeah, and all these horoscopes here, you guys, I would have to see your chart too, right? Because they are general, but I definitely would have to see your chart. Thanks so much for watching. Please give a like. Yeah, if you would like your own chart read, definitely send me an email, and yeah, and I will get right back to you. Thanks so much, you guys, for joining me today.